everyone, and welcome to Tech in a Sec. I'm Jess, and I'm going to be talking about Logic Flow Google Forms. They're also known as Adaptive Google Forms. And basically what these do are they enable you to create a quiz and have your students take that quiz, but based on a certain answer that they pick, it's going to go to a question at their level. So if they get the first question right, they're going to move on to the next question. But if they get that question wrong, it's going to repeat that type of question and make sure that they understand that concept before moving on to another question. I like to use these a lot in my station rotation models to make sure that my students are getting the help that they need where they're at. This is a little bit more of an advanced Google Forms topic. If you are new to Google Forms and creating a quiz in Google Forms, go watch my other video in this playlist about creating a Google Form quiz, and then come back to this video and you're going to be good to go. All right, so the first step to creating a Logic Flow Google form is to make sure that your Google form is a quiz. So I like to go up to the settings feature and just make sure that when you click on the settings, if you go over to quizzes, make sure that this is a quiz. And now that we're in here, I'm going to write my first question. So I just did, again, I taught 6th grade math last year, so a lot of math and integers. So this one was 5 plus -6, and then I have 4 answer choices here. I'm going to make sure to make my answer key and pick one correct answer. So this is -1, and then I have 3 incorrect answers. Now, after I make my first question, this is going to determine, okay, if the student gets it right, they're going to go on to the next question, but if they get it wrong, they're going to go repeat that same concept. So here, you're adding a positive integer and a negative integer. If they don't understand that concept, I don't want them continuing on to a different topic until they understand this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a section. So it was just over here on the corner. It's these 2 bars, add a section. And I'm going to call this section the section, if a student gets it wrong, they're going to go to this section. So I'm going to call it 1A. It was question 1 above. Now I'm at 1A because the student had got it wrong. And I always title it like, let's try again, to let the students know, hey, you need to try that concept over again. And now I'm going to add another question. Before I do that, I do like to add in a little video over that concept. So you can click add video and add in a certain concept or thing that you want them to work on. So let's try again, and I'm going to create a new question for them. Now, if I just put it in like this, even the student who got it right is going to go on to this next section. So what I have to do is going back up to question 1. It says continue to next section. That's not what I want it to do. So when I go back to edit my question, do you see these 3 dots by the required? I'm going to click those, and I'm going to go to section based on an answer. So I went to my original first question, clicked on the 3 dots, go to section based on an answer. So now that that's clicked, notice that each of my answer choices has a different option. So if they click on 1, yeah, I want them to go to that next question, that next section, because section 2 is let's try that again. But if they get to this section here, this question 1, I need a new section for them to go to question 2. So I'm going to even create another one, and we're going to move this down. It just got a little complicated here. And let's say that this is question number 2, the new question that I want them to get to. So let's recap. We're here. Continue to next question. Actually, I need number 1 to go to 1A. Let's try that again. This question, yes, that's the correct one. I want them to move on to question 2. This one, wrong answer. I want them to go to 1A. Let's try this again. -11 was the wrong answer, so I'm going to say, let's try this again. So now I'm kind of started on my logic flow, where one question is going to lead to one answer, another question is going to lead to another answer. I want to show you one that I've already created, and I'm going to link this in the video below so that you can kind of play around with it and see it as well. I took this from the Texas STAR exam. These questions are directly from the STAR, and I had my students go through and walk through each one of these questions. So this was the first one. They had to put their name, and they picked question 1. They had to pick their answer choice. I did add an image directly in here. You can add an image when you're in here by just clicking on the image option next to the question. So if they chose F, that was the correct answer. They're going to question 2. All the answers below were the wrong question, so they're going to move on to 1A. Let's try this again. And I do like to put a little image in there for them. Just, oh, so sad. Let's try this again. And then it says, watch this video first, then try it again. So I inputted a video in there for them to watch. And then I had a new question for them. Now that they have A, B, C, and D in here, notice I changed the logic. Again, when we do logic, we're going to make sure to click these 3 things, go to section based on answer. And so I click that off. I want to make sure to click that on, go to section based on answer. And so this one, what I wanted to do is actually, if they get this question wrong, the correct answer is D, I want them to have to repeat this section again, which was section 1A. So I'm going to put, this is 1A, let's try it again. This one, they got it wrong, so I'm not going to have them move on yet. They're going to have to say here, let's try this again, let's try this again. Let's try this same question again. Oh, finally, if they get this right, then they can move on to go to section question 2, and they can repeat that. And then you start it again. And if the first question was right, they're automatically going to jump down to question number 2. I had a little meme for them, and then they were going to go through and read the next question. Again, each section had a go to the section based on the answer. So the only one, that last one, was the one they got to go to question 3. Everyone else had to go to 2A if they got it wrong. So that is how you create a logic Google form. At the very end of the sections, it'll all come down to, and this one was kind of a long one for my students. We used it in a station rotation. Everyone eventually converged to the last one and said, congrats, you made it through. And then in this case, they were doing a station rotation. I had them come show me that they were done. You can go through the responses and see what students were answering by going back up to that green button and looking at how your students did through this. Now, I will say the one thing is make sure I did total points here was 10. But that's because I gave a point value to the let's try again questions. And when you are grading this, you may not want to, for the let's try again questions, assign a point value and only give it to them on the regular questions so that they don't see. Some of my really high advanced students who got all of the questions right only got a 6 out of 12 because there were 12 questions because I had forgotten to make sure that those backup questions had a 0 point value. So just something to look ahead in the future. If you have questions, please comment below. I'm happy to answer any of them, and I'm excited to keep working on these Google Form videos for you guys. Let me know in this poll what you would like to see more of. Thanks.